Good evening, and thank you for joining us here at Frank Talks. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, has emerged from the great state of Georgia, where it is being reported that the first black female judge, that's right, the first black female judge has been fired. Let's get into it after this. Thank you for tuning in to Frank Talks this evening. As highlighted at the beginning of our broadcast, the breaking news is that simply this. In a remarkable twist of events, Judge Christina Peterson, formerly celebrated as a trailblazer for her groundbreaking position as the inaugural black female judge in Douglas County, Georgia, now faces a significant, and I do mean a significant, downfall. Initially marked as many by her promising career, her journey has deteriorated into a narrative fraught with allegations of corruption, ineptitude, and misuse of authority, raising concerns about the judiciary's credibility. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this raised great concern about the judiciary's credibility. Now, Judge Christina Peterson's appointment to the bench was met with optimism and of course, jubilation as she defied conventions and pioneered, ladies and gentlemen, as a minority woman in a field traditionally dominated by white males. Now, her inauguration in 2020, amidst the backdrop of intensified social justice movements, epitomized advancements and diversity within the legal sphere. Regrettably, her rapid elevation was subsequently dimmed by a sequence of concerning disclosures. Now, upon further investigation, Peterson's performance during her tenure as a judge faced significant scrutiny, unveiling what I would call a consistent display of systemic ineptitude and a blatant disregard for ethical norms. Now, that systemic incompetence is what it has been labeled. Now, despite her lack of judicial background, Peterson audaciously sought substantial salary and leveraged her authority to accumulate personal wealth, ladies and gentlemen, by accepting substantial fees and bypassing established procedures. Now, Peterson's defense strategy heavily leaned on her identity as a black woman, seeking to deflect criticism by alleging the same tropes of racism and sexism. Now, there were, of course, allegations that were made, that were triggered here in her defense. Regrettably, her manipulative and exploitive tactics further fueled public, what I would consider indignation, eroding the credibility of her stance. Now, rather than championing justice and equality, Peterson instrumentalized her identity as a shield to evade responsibility. Now, the array of misconduct linked to Peterson surpasses mere incompetence, spanning a range of what we consider unethical behaviors and abuses of authority. Now, by needlessly prolonging legal processes and arbitrarily detaining individuals, Peterson's conduct, hear me close, guys, exudes arrogance and a sense of entitlement, breaching the trust of the community she pledged to uphold. Now, that term entitlement, it stands out as a crucial point that warrants emphasis. It was notably observed that Peterson displayed this sense of entitlement. Now, Peterson's term as a judge was defined, ladies and gentlemen, by a tyrannical approach, evident through vindictiveness, spitefulness, and a flagrant disregard for legal norms. Now, her inclination towards intimidation and manipulation created a foreboding atmosphere in the courtroom, which fostered fear and unease among both litigants and court staff. Now, one notable instance exemplifying a blatant disregard for the rule of law perturbed this woman by the name of Prajopati Junanji, simply referred to as PJ. Her name was PJ Skelton. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Prajopati Junanji Skelton entered into marriage on May 3rd, 2016. And during an interview with the Fox 5 I-Team, she disclosed that she was raised by her biological uncle, whom she viewed as a father, leading her to list him as such on her marriage license. Subsequently, Skelton discovered her biological father's identity and deliberated on rectifying her marriage certificate, initiating a petition on August 2nd, which is the petition that you've been watching for quite some time now. Now, Skelton was summoned by Peterson for a hearing on August 12th. And following the hearing, she was found in contempt of court. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, contempt of court for providing, get this, false information while under oath. Now, consequently, Skelton received a sentence of 20 days in the Douglas County Jail. Now, expressing surprise at the turn of events, Skelton conveyed to the Fox 5 I-Team via telephone, and I quote, "I never anticipated facing such repercussions. I have always strived to uphold integrity in my actions," end quote. Now, Peterson permitted Skelton's early release from jail after a 2-day confinement upon, watch this, payment of a $500 fine. That's right, $500. Now, despite the extensive media coverage, some may still question, and I believe some in our audience may question the rationale behind her dismissal. Now, further clarification on this matter can be found by watching the following.
The least experienced judge at one of the lower classes of court is due to make a lot of money in 2021. Douglas County commissioners allowed probate judge Christina Peterson to pocket all fees collected for birth and death certificates.
That's in addition to her salary of $127,000 a year. And Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis says it's adding up to some really eye-popping numbers, right?
Yeah, Courtney and Russ, this investigation is all about money, and it's not just what Judge Peterson got to keep. We also tried to see what happened to the cash she insists to be paid to release a woman held in contempt of court, someone who was just trying to add her real father's name on her marriage license.
We didn't know, like, oh, you can go to jail for this. We didn't know that.
Yet there was Montavia Skelton rushing to the ATM in the Douglas County Courthouse to withdraw $500 because he said probate judge Christina Peterson told him that was the only way she'd release his wife from jail.
There was no way you could convince the judge that this was just a mistake.
Man, that case was over with.
Montavious and his wife PJ were married in 2016. She never knew her father, so on the marriage license application, the native of Thailand wrote down the name of the uncle who raised her. But this year, after learning her father's real name, PJ contacted the probate court because she thought she needed to let them know too.
So you guys thought it was just going to be an easy paperwork change?
The easy fix. If I'd known, to be honest with you, if I'd known that she would have went to jail behind this, I would have told her just forget about it.
Instead, Judge Peterson insisted they come in for a hearing where she found PJ in contempt of court for lying under oath and providing false information to the court back in 2016. She ordered the Henry County mother taken immediately to jail.
So you're standing in the courtroom and a deputy comes in and handcuffs your wife?
He was already there, but yeah, he was looking so confused.
He says when he tried to use his debit card to pay the $500 fine, Peterson insisted it had to be cash. We filed an open records request with Judge Peterson, asking for records showing what she did with that $500 in cash. Her lawyer responded by saying the judge isn't subject to the Open Records Act. So we tried again, saying that in the interest of transparency to show us the records anyway. That didn't work either. Her attorney did send us a statement insisting all Douglas County courts require cash or certified funds for contempt fines or other fees, so there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about this requirement. But we're told they take debit cards.
I felt like we was walking into a trap.
The Skelton case is just one of several complaints filed by the Judicial Qualifications Commission, the group that investigates judicial misconduct. Peterson has denied in court filings she's done anything wrong, or the JQC has no jurisdiction over other allegations that happened before she took office.
I'm looking for fairness across the board.
Then there is her salary. Because previous probate judge Hal Hamrick was not an attorney and she is, Douglas County commissioners agreed with Peterson that she deserved an additional $36,000 supplement to her state pay. For the first-year judge, that made her salary $127,000 this year. Ann Jones-Guider voted no.
I said, why are you giving her a supplement? And they said, because we give it to the other judges. I said, the other judges don't make fees.
Most metro counties cap the vital records fees their probate judge can keep. Douglas County does not. Hamrick chose to take half of only the death certificate fees, bumping his overall pay to around $110,000 each year. Peterson decided to keep all the fees, both birth and death certificates. This year, combined with that increased salary, she's projected to make around $280,000.
That's probably more than the governor, isn't it?
Way more than the governor. More than Georgia's Supreme Court Chief Justice. Even more than Georgia's 2 U.S. senators. Peterson's attorney Lester Tate said the judge's salary is the lowest from county or state funds and has the least effect on taxpayers' money. But someone is paying the estimated $158,000 of vital records fees that she keeps.
I definitely think that all fees should be capped. Good grief, you could be a millionaire and work for the government.
Gwinnett and Henry County cap the fees a private judge can keep at $7,500 each year. In Rockdale, the cap is $15,000 a year. Would Douglas County consider a similar cap? Well, we repeatedly asked that question to Chairman Ramona Jackson-Jones through her spokesman, and we never got an answer back.
Team now, the least.
Now, following Peterson's removal, demands for accountability echo across Douglas County, with residents seeking justice for the significant abuses that occurred during her tenure. Now, the formerly esteemed judicial system known for its fairness and neutrality is now confronted with the aftermath of Peterson's misconduct and the pressing necessity for comprehensive reform. Now, the scandal involving Peterson serves as a stark reminder, a cautionary tale, if you will, of the risk associated with prioritizing identity over competence and integrity in positions of power. Now, it emphasizes the vital necessity of ensuring that public officials are held responsible for their conduct and maintaining transparency and accountability at all times. Now, Douglas County is endeavoring to rebuild trust in its judicial system by prioritizing initiatives aimed at eradicating corruption and reinstating integrity. Now, urgent measures need to be emphasizing transparency, accountability, and a commitment to ethical principles. Now, these actions are essential to reinstating public confidence in the judiciary and preventing any recurrence of flagrant power abuses in the future. Now, following Peterson's regrettable downfall, attention turns towards outlining a progressive direction for Douglas County and its legal framework. It is imperative that the insights gained from this, what I would consider unfortunate episode, shape future policies and procedures to deter comparable scandals, reaffirming a dedication to justice, impartiality, and inclusivity. Now, by unwaveringly upholding these values, the repercussions of Peterson's actions can slowly mend, fostering a future that is both brighter and more equitable. Now, what do you think? How can communities ensure that diversity in positions of power is upheld with accountability and competence rather than being manipulated or manipulated for personal advantage? Now, what measures can be implemented to restore public trust in the judiciary following a scandal similar to the one involving Judge Christina Peterson? Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for my commentary.
$36,000 supplement to her state pay. For the first-year judge, that made her salary $127,000 this year. Ann Jones-Geider voted no.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can just go directly into our commentary. Now, earlier, ladies and gentlemen, I addressed the notion of entitlement, particularly the concept of a sense of entitlement, a term prevalent within the Black community. Now, this phrase is often associated with today's youth and frequently linked to Black women who have excelled in education, advanced in their careers, and navigated the complexities of dating or are at least trying. Regrettably, this pervasive sense of entitlement poses a significant threat to many within our community. Now, the dwindling number of relationships culminating in marriage underscores this issue. And instances of individuals propelled into roles under the guise what we call diversity, equity, and inclusion reveal how entitlement can lead to repercussions such as dismissal, suspension, or even more severe consequences. Regrettably, Judge Christina Peterson, in my humble opinion, exhibited not only a sense of entitlement, but also a character flaw categorized by greed. Now, this narrative serves as a stark reminder to those who fail to grasp that entitlement is not a commendable trait. As the younger generation would express, it is not a flex. Now, it is imperative to uproot this mindset before it becomes irreversible. Acknowledging one's achievements is essential, but true fulfillment stems from hard work. Let me say that again. True fulfillment stems from hard work. Thus, more diligence should be viewed as a blessing, while entitlement should be recognized as a curse. Be blessed. Good night, and thank you for having this honest and frank talk.